agree to this change in job, which I didn't agree to, basically. So after that, they moved me to a non-job, reporting to nobody in the administration department, and a couple of months later, I was suspended. I was suspended on allegations of disloyalty, because for them, having proposed reforms, having put my concerns forward to the Commission and requesting urgent changes, was disloyalty. So I decided that I needed to take my case and make the institution that I thought at that point was going to defend the interest of the European taxpayers, and this is the European Parliament. I will tell you that the European Parliament in Brussels is known as the Mickey Mouse Parliament. And I am sorry to say this, because today I am a member of this European Mickey Mouse Parliament. And I'm Minnie. So I decided I had to go to these people and raise my concerns with them. And to my surprise, they also refused to hear me. And the justifications for this refusal were incredible. They said they had interinstitutional agreements with the Commission that did not allow them to hear an official, a civil servant, who had been suspended by another institution. Which, for a start, showed me there was no separation of powers. You know, these people should have been independent and analyzed what I was saying in the interest of you here and all the European taxpayers. And they just allied with the Commission in refusing to hear me about the concerns I had on the accounting system, on the accounts. So I was pretty frustrated. And I would like to bring to your attention that when the Yes campaign and the European Union is promising to you this famous citizen initiative, whereby 1 million signatures would allow you to, bring your concerns to the Parliament and get a response for whatever you want to propose. This is rubbish. I put a petition to this Parliament. I was a civil servant. I was the chief accountant. I was telling them that the accounts were wrong. I was telling them the funds, the European Union funds, were being misappropriated. They couldn't care less. They never heard me. They used many excuses, but they never heard me in the end. Further to that, I was followed home and I suffered a lot of intimidation, which I really cannot describe in detail here. Anyway, I was able to overcome, and because the European Court of Auditors has refused to clear the accounts by that time for 10 years, I thought I should go also to the European Court of Auditors to ask them to support me. But again, I was wrong, and these people just turned their back to me, were very afraid to support me in my comments, even if you could go and read their reports and find that what they were saying was very similar to what I was saying, but they refused to support me. All of which, again proves the lack of separation of duties. These auditors, as in any organization in the world, should be totally independent from the organization they are auditing. They are reviewing accounts from a separate organization, and they would show independence, but they didn't. And in all this story, what was terrible for me to conclude or to understand is that these people are overall very, very arrogant, because they didn't even care to show interest in what I had to say. They didn't even care to show publicly that they were trying to understand my concerns and try to make changes. No, they were just arrogant and they just turned their back to me. The end of the story is that two years after I was suspended, they ended up dismissing me. The people who dismissed me was an internal tribunal made up of high civil servants, director generals, all of them, 5 of them, who had been managing the funds without control for between 20 and 30 years. And these people who had been managing the funds without control were the ones who judged me and decided I had been terribly disloyal to the European Union. And they decided on my dismissal. I obviously tried to continue to fight with the support of my family and went to the European Court of Justice. And the European Court of Justice obviously judged in favor of, in the same line as the European Commission, and found me guilty, found me to be disloyal. And I have appealed this judgment, and this appeal is still in court. So this story is now, my dismissal happened in 2004, and I'm still in 2009 hoping to get redress. I think, you probably think, why do I pursue this way, and why do I continue to suffer this situation? And I think, and I learned when I was there, that they are very weak, that they don't lack criticism, and that if we give up, then we lose the battle. If we continue to fight, then they will have a lot to do, a lot to fight back, and this wears them out. And I hope that in this wearing out, they will collapse as this empire that they have. I would like to make some comments. I mean, my story, which I have sort of detailed more in my book, a book that has taken me a lot of emotional cost to write, because it's very sad to go through this story. Although today I have the satisfaction to have the opportunity to go back to the Parliament and challenge them again. The detail of this, it's very difficult to express today to you to the extent that I went through. I have had the satisfaction to go back to the European Parliament because, as Martin has mentioned, I am a member of the European Parliament representing the UK Independence Party on a ticket of anti-fraud or anti-corruption. And I am a member of the Budgetary Control Committee in the European Parliament, who supposedly is going to control how the European Union funds are managed. I am, thrilled to be in this committee, because usually these committees, the different committees in the European Parliament, are made up of people who are not specialists in the subject they have to deal with, and this is a big problem, and therefore are unable to challenge all the truths that the European Commission brings about. They are unable to challenge the validity and the soundness of this legislation, this regulation that impacts our lives every day. Today, 80% of the regulation that affects your